Hey, so our app is working, right? But it's not pretty, is it? We could try to do something. So if you go to WebStorm, we could see like the elements that we are using, and we could start trying to style them. So let's say that you want to change the color of the fonts. So we could choose something like dim gray, and yeah, maybe for the H1, we could give a different color like dark blue, and we could try to add some padding. Yeah, so we could do that. Meteor is ready for this. We can put the CSS here and Meteor will apply them. And Meteor is actually compatible with SAS, with Less, and the Meteor build tool already compile, bundle, minifies our assets. So Meteor is ready for that. But our focus is not CSS on this course, and also creating CSS from scratch, we would spend a lot of time. So what we will do is to use something really cool called Tailwind CSS. Right, so what is Tailwind CSS? From the website, you can see that we use Tailwind to build modern websites without leaving our HTML. So we can see some examples here. So when you are using Tailwind, instead of applying the CSS changes like we were just doing, we would apply some utility classes directly in the HTML. So that's a new approach, and you may like it or not. I like it. And so I will provide you all the elements styled already with all the classes, so you don't have to worry with that. And you just can have a look at the Tailwind website if you don't know it. And we will also use a few components from the Tailwind UI. So Tailwind CSS is the base of Tailwind, and Tailwind UI, we can use some ready-to-use components. And those components are created by the Tailwind team. So the same company is behind both of them. So let's go back there and remove that CSS. And then we can go to the Get Started in the Tailwind website, to the installation page, and we can follow this process right here, but we also have a few commands, a few packages that we have to add and remove from Meteor. So I will provide you all the commands and we will install and set up Tailwind CSS in our project. So just to recap, we can see the packages that we have installed in our project. If we look at the package.json, so we can see the dependencies that we have. And we also have dependencies from Meteor itself. So if you go to the .meteor and packages, we can see a few packages that we have here. And those packages are installed from Atmosphere. If you want to take a look and find other packages from Meteor, we could go to atmospherejs.com and we have many packages right here. We can see the trending ones or the recent ones. So there are many packages from Meteor. And why do we have two ways of installing packages in Meteor? So first, when Meteor was created, npm was not that used like it is today. So we had a few options to install packages, and Meteor created its own way of installing packages. And then npm became the most used package manager for Node.js apps. So today, if we want to install some package that depends on something internal from Meteor or it depends on another Meteor package, that package will be here in Atmosphere.js. But if it's a JavaScript package, it's not related to Meteor, so you will find it in npm. So we can use both, so that's a good thing, right? We have many packages in Atmosphere and a lot of others in npm. So let's move forward and install Tailwind CSS in our application. We will go to the terminal. I will use the terminal from WebStorm. Let me clean this up. And I will copy and paste the command right here. And I will provide these comments for you, so do not worry. And what we are doing here is meter npm install. So this is the first thing that you have to pay attention. And in my case, it's already installed. So let's understand it. We are using meter before the npm command. This is important because this way meter will use the npm version bundled with meter itself. So it's the recommended way to use meter before your npm commands. So what we did here, we installed PostCSS. That is a CSS processor that we need to use. We installed the PostCSS load config, so you'll be able to configure the PostCSS and auto prefixer. So this is another thing that if you were doing the CSS by ourselves, we would have in a few cases to add the prefixes from the engines, from the browsers. So using Tailwind CSS and Post CSS and auto prefixer, we don't have to do this kind of things. So Tailwind is installed, and we also need to remove a package from Meteor, and we could remove just going here and removing from the packages file itself. That is an option, but I will remove it using the command line. So I am typing meter remove standard minifier CSS. So like I mentioned before, meter has this all kind of tools inside of it. So to not have any conflict, because we will use both CSS and Tailwind, we will remove the full package from meter, and we will install a new one that is compatible with PostCSS. So we are adding this package, meter add, Julian circle, PostCSS, okay. And now we are going to configure the PostCSS. So we can go here in our hot folder and create a new file called postcssrc.js. So this is the file that we are going to configure our PostCSS. I won't go into the details here. I will just provide this file for you. We also need to import Tailwind in our CSS files. So we will go to the main CSS, remove all of this, and add these elements from Tailwind. So we are importing the base, components, and utilities. We also need to configure Tailwind. There is a file called tailwindconfig.js that we are going to create. And I will just copy and paste from this. We are not adding anything specific now, but we will add in other lessons. All right, now actually this file is .postcss. So let me just refactor and rename and add a dot at the beginning, do refactor. Okay, so I think now we can test if it's working. Let's go to the app.js and we can already see that the styles have changed. And also the inputs are not visible, but we will fix that. So I want just to take something from here, like let's take this one, text gray. So I will copy this class and I will add right here. As you're using React, we have to use class name and not class only. So let's see if this will work. And well, I cannot see the difference. Let's try another color, maybe blue. And I cannot say either. Okay, yeah. Now with a refresh, it is working. But let's see, if you really need a refresh, I will put gray back and save it. Oh, okay, now it's working fine. So yeah, that's really cool. Tailwind is working, and now we will style our application and make it prettier. Okay, the first thing I want to do is create a kind of header to replace this. And the way I use Tailwind is if we go to the Tailwind UI, I just log it in with my account. And it's important to understand that Tailwind CSS itself, it's free. But if you want to use Tailwind UI, you have to buy a license. But we can use on this course without any problems. So I want to add a header. So let me just go to the home page after logged in. So we can see many ready to use examples right here. And I want to use a header. So if I look for this right here, header sections and elements. So I want to use a header element. And to get to know the elements that you have, you just have to explore this page. So I will use these headers and I will use the last one right here. That is a very simple one. So Tailwind UI shows you the elements and an example of how it looks like. You can see the preview and also you can see the code and just copy paste from here. You can also change, and Tailwind UI has also a Vue.js version and also HTML. So if you're using Blaze or if you're using Vue, you can still use Tailwind. So in our case, it is React. So I actually copied this code already and changed it a little bit, and I will just provide the code for you. So let's go back to WebStorm, and what I'm willing to do is to remove this and create a header component. So I will delete this, and I will go now to the import UI, and I will create a new file called header.jsx. And now I will copy the code that I have here and paste it. So you can see, I will just adapt this. So then you can keep the pattern that we are using. So actually export const header, and then we use an arrow function. All right, so my header is defined, and you can have a look, you can explore the codes that you have. We are defining background color, indigo, and then there are a few options when you are using a color with Tailwind. So you're using this option right now, and we are defining the widget, the auto margin, pagings, and things like that. We are defining that this element is a flex element, and we are defining here a height of a logo. So you can explore a little bit. It is very similar to the vanilla CSS. So most of the things you can read it and you can understand what it's doing. So like here, it's center. So, okay, uh, if you see, I am using a logo right here, but we don't have any logo yet in our project. And we will also learn something new right now, because what we want to do is to serve something like an image as a public asset. So we are going to create another special folder here called public. So everything that we have on this folder will be served by Meteor as a public asset. I will create a images folder just to organize it a little bit, and I will copy and paste my logo right here. So okay, we have our logo, and now in the app component, I will import this header, and let's see how is that. If we go back to our app, oh, it looks better, right? So I think we're improving now. Let's keep going and improve our form. Okay, now we go to Tailwind UI again. And if I am trying to use some nicer form, we can find it right here. So we have form layouts. We can have a look at the samples, and you can explore and find what you like the most and just use it. So in our case, I will just, again, provide the code for us. So basically it will keep the same, but we will have Tailwind CSS classes in our HTML elements. So I will just paste the code right away. You can see that the React and Meteor part, it remains the same, but now we have many classes from Tailwind. So let's see, I didn't save it yet, so we can compare. So this is how our form is right now. So we cannot even see the inputs. And I will go here to the contact form and save it. Meteor will refresh, and yeah, it looks better, right? Now we can see the inputs, name, email, image, URL, and the button also is more clear. Now I want to improve this because you can see that our components that they are using the whole screen and it doesn't look that good. So to do that, we will go to WebStorm and we need to change something in the body, in the main HTML body. We need to add a class from Tailwind here. And on this case, this is a HTML, right? It's not React. So we use class. When you are in a React component, then you have to use class name. So this is the first thing that I have to add. And then I will go to the import API. Oh, sorry, UI app JSX. And I need to add something else here that is this code. So I added two divs wrapping our elements with a few Tailwind CSS classes. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, now it is better. The last one is the contact list. So I will go to the contact list component and I will replace this with the code that I already have. And again, you can see that is just HTML with a bunch of CSS classes. We are still using the contacts, iterating over it, and creating other elements. So let me save it. And if we check now, it looks good, but we have this managing contacts that I think we don't need that. So I will remove it. Okay, it looks better. And you can see that this image is broken, but the reason is because I just added a fake URL in my record here. So we can edit and put something real. There's a website that we can use that is called randomuser.me. And you can just take any picture from here. I will take, I don't know, the first one right here, copy the image address. I just want to replace so you can see a real image in our screen. So I save it. When I click on edit on NoSQL Buster in a specific record, it creates automatically a query that you can run. So I am just editing the data and I'm pressing Command Enter, and then we can see that it ran. And if we go back to our application, oh, now it looks pretty. So we can add a new person right here, a new contact, and I will actually take, oh, sorry, I'll actually take someone from here because we can already take the name and let's go there. So this is the name and I will just adapt this. So we have some email at gmail.com and I will fix the first letter right here. And I will copy this image address and save it. Oh, it looks good. So yeah, I think our application is getting much better now. So Tailwind CSS is really cool. I really recommend you to look a bit deeper on it and use it in your projects.